The giant Chinese balloon that had been floating across parts of the United States has been shot down by an American fighter jet off the coast of South Carolina. The balloon, which the US says was being used to spy on military sites, appeared to plummet into the sea. Well, China continues to insist that it was in fact a stray civilian weather observation airship. Its foreign ministry has released a statement saying that China strongly disapproves of and protests against the US attack on a civilian unmanned airship by force. It also went on to say that American use of force is a clear overreaction and a serious violation of international practice. The BBC's Tim Ullman has the report.
All eyes had been on this solitary object floating serenely through US airspace. Was it a harmless weather balloon or a spy in the sky sent by the Chinese? Whatever it was, the American government had decided enough was enough. Look at that trail of white vapour on the left of your screen. That is a US F-22 fighter jet streaking towards the balloon. Then a second trail, this time from a Sidewinder missile, about to bring its journey to an abrupt end.
Suddenly we saw something take off from the jet and knew it was a missile, and you could see the explosion. Didn't hear anything, but saw the explosion of the balloon.
Gosh, it was almost like a moving cloud coming down, and then the smoke was gone and it just started slowly going down but further out towards the ocean.
Whoa! Did you hear that? A few moments after the impact, the sound of the explosion can be heard at ground level. Then the remains of the balloon, its canopy torn to shreds, falls to the earth. A satisfying moment for President Biden, although he had to wait a few days for the operation to be carried out.
Order the Pentagon to shoot it down on Wednesday as soon as possible. They decided, without doing damage to anyone on the ground, they decided that the best time to do that was when it got over water.
In a statement, China's foreign ministry accused the US of overreacting. China expresses strong dissatisfaction and protests against the use of force by the United States. It added that it would reserve the right to make further necessary responses. The whole incident has caused tensions in what is an already delicate relationship. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken cancelled a planned trip to Beijing this weekend as a result. The balloon is believed to have come down in relatively shallow water, and any wreckage should be easily retrieved. The Americans hope they will then be able to work out exactly what the Chinese were up to. Tim Ullman, BBC News.
Well, earlier I spoke to our correspondent in Beijing, Stephen McDonald, and he told us a little bit more about that statement that was issued by the Chinese foreign minister.
I mean, it's been issued by an angry Chinese government, and you think this was supposed to be a weekend here in Beijing of building bridges between China and the US, not burning them. But now US Secretary of State Antony Blinken's trip to Beijing has been postponed, and we have this serious point of tension. But in terms of the latest remarks from the Chinese government, they're describing the shooting down of this balloon as an attack on a civilian unmanned airship. The statement then goes on to again repeat the Chinese government's reassurances that this was a weather balloon which was accidentally blown a long way off course over US airspace, that they'd called on Washington to act in a calm and restrained manner, and yet they're saying despite that, you've shot this balloon down. This is a clear overreaction, a serious violation of international practice, and the Chinese government says it will resolutely safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of the company which operates this balloon, and it reserves the right to make further responses if necessary.
OK, let's take that last point, Stephen. Further responses if necessary. What are they likely to be? What are we talking about? Diplomatic summonses? And what does that mean then for this warming of tensions, or rather warming of relations that was the hope of the visit by Secretary of State Blinken?
I mean, this is a kind of standard boilerplate line you get from the Chinese Foreign Ministry when the Chinese government is angry. It's deliberately vague, you know, to suggest that, well, who knows what we might do in the future, but it is a warning. And like I say, it's not specific to, I guess it gives it an air of mystery in a way, because, you know, who knows what we might do in the future in response to this. Certainly, though, it is not helping in terms of building relations between China and the US, which is supposed to be being repaired as we speak.